Alrighty, so I've gone ahead and watched Mandalorian for the first time in big 2025. First time, pretty blind. Pretty much the general consensus I heard from Mandalorian was season 1 was goated, 9 out of 10. Season 2 was pretty good, and then season 3 was kind of shit. And that's the general consensus I've heard from mostly anyone who talks about Star Wars, either IRL, online, videos from like Mauler, fucking. There's got to be some other ones I can't remember. Probably Star Wars Theory agrees with something like that. But don't quote me on that. Stuff like that. But regardless, I just decided to watch it for the first time. Originally I did watch Mandalorian season 1 back in like 2022, but I was like half watching it. It was on a side monitor. This time I locked the fuck in, cracked the coke, started watching the show. All right, top to bottom, and I finished it all within like a week or two. I did finish the last season all in one day, so that might be a little bit biased towards that. However, yeah, we're gonna go through the rankings and just a quick gist, okay? By the way, if you're new on the channel, I post anything I'm passionate about. Star Wars, UFC are typically the name of the game, so you'll see a lot of that content from me. But I do, I do content about anything I'm passionate about. But a quick rundown, if you're curious thoughts and opinions on my personal rankings here, you'll notice on my tier list, okay, we have Clone Wars in the S tier, or replacing the S tier, because I do think Clone Wars is the best Star Wars content ever made. That and Revenge of the Sith. If you had to give me only one show, it would be Clone Wars. If you had to give me only one movie, it would be Revenge of the Sith. That you would have to endlessly watch on repeat or whatever. That's typically how I see it. And then at the bottom here, you have sequels. The sequels are absolutely fucking terrible. I think they genuinely are like a crime against humanity. The people who made Rise of Skywalker should genuinely be behind bars right now. It should be a fucking crime to produce content about such a beloved IP like that. Oh my god, was that film terrible. Genuinely, I have Rise of Skywalker as one of the worst films of all time. Not just Star Wars, one of the worst films of all time. It's up there with, or it's down there, I should say, with Borderlands. And if you haven't watched that movie, don't watch that movie. That movie's dog shit as well. Okay. And those are like the way I sort of rank things. Obviously, OT trilogy, fine. Prequels, love them. Clone Wars, love them. I've missed out on a few shows. I haven't watched Ahsoka and/or Acolyte, Book of Boba Fett, which I'm gonna have to watch. Okay, so stay tuned for that review if you're interested. But with all that out of the way, let's get into the rankings here. So like I said, I'm gonna be going through like a rundown, I guess, of every season. I have season 1 here with Mando and Queel, which is the Ugnaught. And if like you want to go into this spoiler free, I'm gonna tell you right now, click off the video. I'm gonna be going through a pretty, maybe not in-depth review, but I'm going to be brushing over a lot of topics amongst the episodes. And it's rare for someone to say this these days, and maybe I'm a little bit of a Star Wars casual, but I actually do think Mandalorian's worth a watch. If you haven't watched it and you're like interested in Star Wars or some sort of space combat thing, like space adventure bounty hunter show, I think Star Wars, I think Mandalorian is up your alley. I do think it's actually pretty good overall. Overall, I think I'd probably give it like a 7 out of 10. All things considered, I give it like a 7 out of 10. It's no Clone Wars by any means, okay? But, it's better than, I'd rank it higher than Rebels. I wasn't too much of a fan of Rebels. But that's a topic for a different day. But regardless of that, Mandalorian Season 1 is Mando and Queel. Mandalorian Season 2 is Boba Fett and Mando. Mandalorian Season 3 is Mando and Bo-Katan. And I feel like those are pretty obvious why I have these as the images. I didn't see any images that said like Mando Season 1, Season 2, Season 3, so I just went with these images. But yeah, Mandalorian Season 1. I'm gonna keep it a buck. It is kind of boring. Anyone else? Anyone else? I went into this, and maybe it's because I was expecting, like, okay, everyone's big up in this. All right, I'm expecting, George Lucas level of quality here in terms of writing and stuff. But overall, it's kind of slow, kind of boring. I get why it's slow, though. You're getting an introduction. But when you think about it, like, every episode's almost an hour. right? And it's 8 episodes. So that's, let's say, intros, some episodes are 30 minutes. Let's say the first season's like 5 hours long. That's almost enough for a trilogy. You're like 1 hour off of a trilogy in Star Wars. And man, for season 1, man, like the start is pretty good. Not gonna lie, I do like the ice planet, a little bit change of pace, if you will. Didn't mind episode 1. Then we move into episode 2, where Mando's tasked with getting. Episode 1's pretty good. He's a bounty hunter. He's got aura. He walks in, kills some other bounty hunters, gets a package. Cryo freezes him after a little bit of goofiness, and then finds Grief Karga for the bounty. Not really too much goes down, but basically Mando's the guy. He's the bounty hunter in those parts, so it's a good introduction, good way to see, like, okay, this kid's got fucking aura, okay. And he got rewarded for something. I think he was given Beskar off of his first bounty, but I think he was actually given currency, and then he was given Beskar for another job, as like an initial payment. And then you get to see a different type of Mandalorian, which is kind of cool. And if you don't know, Mandalorians, that was a that was a voice crack and a half. Forget you ever heard that. Mandalorians are some of my favorite race, I guess, in Star Wars. I think it's really cool, like a warrior race, where they're about wearing armor, going into battle. Death Watch, one of the best arcs in the Clone Wars, in my personal opinion. Paz Vizsla, or actually Pre Vizsla. Paz Vizsla is the one in Mandalorian, but Pre Vizsla, sick, loved them. Bo-Katan in the Clone Wars was pretty good. Season 7 Bo-Katan, we gotta work on it, But I think episode 1 was pretty good. Episode 2, he goes to a desert planet. Not a great kickoff, and then even the main planet they're on kind of seems like a desert planet. It's more like a volcanic ash planet, which is in a sense pretty much the same fucking thing. Just there's lava instead of only desert. So it's kind of the same thing, from my standpoint personally. And it was kind of cool seeing an assassin droid do thing, IG-11. And then like Mando decides to save the kid. The way I would describe a lot of Mandalorian is that there's a lot of little issues and a few like, why the fuck would he do that? Or like, why the fuck did that just happen moments? But nothing is really too jaw-dropping, what the fuck is going on type of... nothing is, and somehow Palpatine returned moments, A lot of it is just like, why the fuck isn't that trooper shooting? You literally have the gun pointed at him. Or like, why the fuck is this guy running down someone with a blade? Just shoot at them at range. Like, what are you doing? Or stuff like that. Or, just like common Disney comedy where they just crack jokes a lot. Season 1 didn't have too many jokes cracked, I guess. But it was pretty slow. Queel was a nice addition, the Ugnaught, who like got his fucking... I don't know, what's it, like, independence, I guess? He bought his independence through hard working. And this all takes place after the Empire, so this is kind of, like, interesting to see how the world operates under the New Republic. Episode 2, it was like, alright, he gets the baby, Grogu, the fucking Baby Yoda. What was episode 3? Episode 3, I think, is when the Mandalorian's hidden on the main planet. I want to say it was like what is that place called? Covenant? Some Concordia? I think it's Concordia is the main planet. But yeah, Mandalorians come out of the works. I love Mandalorians. I think it's cool that they introduce this, like, this is the way type of Mandalorian, where you have to earn, like, the signia you get put on your shoulder plate and stuff. I think that's just pretty cool. Now, coming from outside of Mandalorian and going in blind, it's like, what the fuck is this, I've seen Pre Vizsla without his helmet on. Bo-Katan took her helmet on, helmet off all the fucking time in Clone Wars. What the fuck? Huh? What is this? This is the way garbage, you know? But you start learning it a little bit more in season 2. But season 1, it's pretty good, pretty slow. You know, Mando escapes with the child. Then he goes to a backwater planet, finds a Imperial Rebel trooper thing. I think they were a shock trooper for the Empire or Rebellion. I kept on getting lost because it felt like in one moment it was an Imperial shock trooper, and then in the next moment it was like an Imperial Rebel trooper. Maybe that's just me being dumb, but I don't know. Don't care what side they were on, but she was pretty cool. Then the village got attacked, and then they got paid to, like, defend a village. That whole arc I thought was pretty lame and boring. I think it's cool to have, like, oh, there's a threat coming to, like, a backwater village, and you're gonna help them out so you can get permanent residence. But there's a lot of, like, dumb moments, and this is what I mean. Like, this is kind of where you start noticing small dumb moments. Like, when the DP, I want to say, walker, whatever that fucking two-legged walker is, the resistance one. There's a Lego set with it, but that one where it's like the whole plan was to get that walker to like step on a weak part of the ground, and then it did it, but it didn't go far enough, and then it kept looking for someone, and it would step away and step forward and step away and then step forward, and then, oh, right as they pop, that's when the walker gives in. It's like really like, okay, you know, you can tell it was kind of like, obviously it's a show, right? Things are going to be scripted, but it's one of those like immersion breaking, like, okay, buddy, yeah, like that would realistically happen in that situation, you know? But overall it wasn't terrible. It's just like boring and very like, yeah, you know, like the main villains you really didn't even get to see. They were, I don't even know what race they're called, but like they didn't really talk much. There wasn't much going on there. They leave that planet. Then I think it's the prison arc, which I thought was I guess. I wasn't a huge fan, and then Bill Burr actually did a really good job as, I think his name's Mayfield. By the way, most of the actors, I will be honest, were shit. Not because of, like, they are bad actors, but it felt like a lot of things were not properly communicated with the cast, you know? It really did feel like they were told to be very goofy and, like, exaggeratory a lot of the time. And I don't know if it's because of language barriers or like translation issues or whatever, but the fucking aliens in this show in every season had some of the worst lip syncing. I don't know if it's called lip syncing, but bro, when they would talk, you could not understand it if you were listening to the words. It literally, like, it was hurting my fucking brain when I'd see just like the Ugnaught, Queel, or like a bunch of other people just like, hello, Mandalorian, how are you doing today? And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, huh? Who greenlit that, bro? Like, at least make it look like when they're talking, the fucking lip movement makes sense. It's just so weird to me. I don't know why the fuck. I'm guessing it's because they were planning on doing it for like every language and translating it for every language, and it makes it easier for the other languages' words if the mouths are really exaggerated. But holy shit, man, did it feel like it was a film made in like the early 2000s with some of those costume lip syncing moments. It was just terrible. But yeah, so prison arc, pretty aight. But yeah, Bill Burr did a good job. Alien was like, like the Twi'leks, I think their name is. What else was there? The big dude, the devil dude. He was like, I guess it was cool to see like a sort of like a bounty hunter Twi'lek, because I feel like in Star Wars there's not many of those. It was kind of alright, I guess. They infiltrate like a prison. Mando's only doing it for fun so that he can, you know, find another planet, refuel, and do all that nice stuff. They end up betraying Mando because the cast didn't like him. So they threw Mando in the cell and got the brother out of the Twi'lek woman. Mando gets out, and we have sort of this goofy, like, kids fucking hunting down the guys who imprisoned him. You know, like when he fought the devil dude, and then the door slammed on his head. That I thought was pretty cool. But after that, it was, I don't know. I felt like it was very like all ages type of film going on, and I get it's like that, but that's sort of where it's just like, yeah, you kind of lost me with some of the things going on. You know, like when the fucking robot, I think the robot's name was Zero, like notices something's wrong with the kid, or notices the kid, so he takes literally like 15 minutes of the episode to grab a gun and then hunt down the kid and can't find the kid as a droid that's meant to go on bounty hunting missions. It's just like one of those like, huh? You know, like, huh? But yeah, Mandalorian had a lot of that. Season 1, you know, after the prison arc, he starts rallying the troops, I think, to go back and, yeah, help not Moff Gideon, help Grief Karga fight off Moff Gideon. They do, like, a fake deal. It doesn't really work out. Like, the final 2 episodes I thought were great. You know, Queel ends up dying. Little spoiler. Obviously, I warned you. Stuff like that I thought was cool. IG-11 being reprogrammed, I thought was cool. Him getting the squad together from the season, I thought was all pretty cool. Overall, I'd say season 1's like a... You know, Moff Gideon was pretty cool. There was a lot of goofy moments and gunfights, though. You know? Like, sometimes they would get hit by blaster shots and they'd be recoiled all the way back and go flying. And sometimes they'd get hit and Mando would just be fine in Beskar armor. You know? Like, I think he got shot in the head by Moff Gideon and that, like, knocked him out. But he got shot in the head, like, 30 times beforehand. And it just didn't do anything. So it's just, like, weird moments like that. And how they were able to, like, hold off in, like, the bar, go out, get the blasters going, and then Moff Gideon shows up with more people, and they start, like, pressing forward. Inferno Trooper was Aura, not gonna lie, that was pretty sick. Conclusion was also kind of dumb with Moff Gideon going on a TIE fighter, and I thought when Mando, like, took the detonator and, like, put it on the TIE fighter, that whole scene, like, was just not great, I guess. And it was kind of, like... It's one thing to be like very nitpicky and be like, why the fuck didn't they check the crash site? Make sure Moff Gideon's fucking dead, you know? I don't really mind that too much. I just don't think it's... I think it's a little goofy for Mando to just all of a sudden fucking use his jetpack, do a backflip, and then land a fucking detonator on the TIE fighter while it's moving, while he jumps midair, and he jumps way before the TIE fighter even... It's... I don't know, I thought it was a weird scene. I think I put season 1 like a B tier. I think it's good. I think it had a lot of slow, boring moments. I think it had a lot of just what moments, you know, where it's just like, why the fuck are they doing that? You know, like why the fuck is the ATDP driver or whatever the fuck ATOT or no, definitely not ATOT. ATDP is like my best guess. Driver like lock the fuck out and constantly going closer and closer to the thing. It's just, I don't know, those scenes just stick out to me as like really weird and kind of just like ugh, you know. But it was pretty cool having Mando go out through the season and like unintentionally find like people he can collectively come to agreements with to go fight Moff Gideon, you know, and seeing what the Empire's like afterwards. I think it's pretty cool concept. The Mandalorians helping out Mandalorians helping out Din Djarin, thought was cool. But yeah, season 2 enjoyers, I'm gonna be real. I thought this was pretty not great, you know? I thought this was like, if sequels are like pretty bad, we'll do like this is like a 5 out of 10. We'll do like this is a 7 out of 10. And then we'll do this as like a 9 out of 10. I think that's fair, right? I think season 2 was pretty bad. Episode 1, even though it started on, I think, Tatooine, because of the Tusken Raiders and the Crate Dragon, I think they're called, Kraken Dragon, some shit like that. I think it's Crate Dragon. I thought it was fine. Wait, was season 1 also... Oh, season 1 was the fucking... the guy trying to become a bounty hunter, right? With Fennec Shan. and Fana Chan getting betrayed-ish by that idiot, and then the idiot trying to betray Mando. Yeah, that's just another episode. I thought for sure, the not the prison arc, but I thought like the Raider arc was pretty bad, Farmland versus Raiders. But now that I'm remembering it, that guy trying to become part of the guild, I thought that was probably the worst episode, maybe of the series. But not of the series. Season 2 has some bad episodes. Season 2, episode 1 and 2, I'll stay at 7 out of 10 though. I do think season 1's pretty good. Despite like 2 episodes being bad, the rest of them are pretty good. And some of them have goofy moments, but it's a 40-minute episode. You know, if 3 to 5 minutes are a little bit goofy and the rest of it's pretty peak, even though it's slow, still alright. You know, it's still passable. So I definitely think season 1's worth a watch. It's a little slower. It's more like an OT trilogy, like George Lucas way of writing, where it's very slow. Everything's very, like, pan, stare at it, big moment. You know, like ogle the big moment, which I don't mind. You know, I don't think it's that bad. Season 2, episode 1, even though it's a Krayt Dragon, I thought it was pretty cool. Tusken Raiders, Mandalorian trying to find Mandalorian remnants after Mandalorians like all scattered. That's cool. I thought it was pretty cool. Some random sheriff of some town that's filled with criminals and a Krayt Dragon. Having Mandalorian, or I guess having Boba Fett's armor. I thought it was a fine concept. Them about to duel over it, fine concept. Thought overall the comedy was held pretty reluctantly. You know, it was very moderate with how they went about jokes. Fine with it. You know, we're not looking at Thor: Guns, Love and Thunder type of comedic relief every 3 seconds, right? But yeah. Episode 1 of Season 2, not bad. They killed the Krayt Dragon. I thought the Tusken Raiders were pretty cool. I always love Tusken Raiders. Again, little bias there. Them being, you know, like, you take our water, you know. You know, I'm a big fan of my Tusken Raiders, you know. The OT hits hard. You know, I remember Tusken Raiders going after my farm boy Luke back in the good old days. But, yeah. Thought episode 1 was fine. Episode 2, similar situation. I thought it was pretty good. Jokes were moderate, so I didn't mind them. And when I say jokes, I'm mainly referring to that very quippy, like, Disney humor, where it's just, like, you hit someone in the head, like, oh, man, I'm sorry, it's just, I'm getting PTSD from remembering all the fucking humor moments, man. Holy shit, in Disney films, in modern Disney films. Like, every time get hit in the head, damn, right on the soft spot. And that's supposed to be like a haha moment, you know? Or like, fuck, what, like a fart joke, you know? That kind of humor. Dad jokes is what we're looking for with Disney humor. But yeah, I don't think there was a lot of humor in episode 2. Episode 2 was where they took the frog and they had to fly across the galaxy, but they couldn't use hyperspace. I will also say, the Razor Crest, I'll just keep it a buck. I have no attachment to it. Like, maybe it's because I'm a casual Mandalorian fan, but the Razor Crest to me is literally just a box with engines. I think it might be one of the most overrated ships. Like, when I think of Mandalorian, the first ship that comes to my mind, it's not a fucking Razor Crest. You know, it's probably a Mandalorian starfighter. It's probably like a fucking N1 Mandalorian starfighter, snub fighter, mainly because I got the Lego set. You know, stuff like that. I don't think of the Razor Crest as like a Mandalorian ship. You know, I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but that's besides the point. Razor Crest, they get interrogated by X-Wing pilots, New Republic order. They recognize the ship from when the prison break. Nice little reference there. And then the ship gets shot down pretty much. Or no, it doesn't get shot down, but it gets shot at. He ends up flying into... Or no, I don't even think it gets shot at. The X-Wings were very lenient. The New Republic was very, very lenient, I think. And then he ends up going into like a chasm on an ice planet. Ice falls through. There's spiders there. Frog Lady's worried about her fucking children hatching. Meanwhile, Grogu's literally eating children. Kind of interesting, you know? Just Grogu mucking some fucking frog eggs that they're supposed to take to a safe destination. A little interesting. But yeah, big ass fucking ice spider, pretty cool, pretty cool. Thought it was pretty cool. They got into the ship, tear apart some of the ship, webs going everywhere. X-wings come by and they pretty much free the ship, and they're just like, you know what? We'll let you pass because you did something good for us. I think it's their logic was like, oh, you freed one criminal, but you got 3 of them back, so we'll let you off the hook. You know, you imprisoned 3 of them, we'll let you off the hook. We don't care too much. But Mando got a little greedy and was like, yeah, can you help me with my repairs? And they were like, yeah, figure that out yourself, Unk. And then they just fucking drove off. So I thought that was fun. What else? After that is where we start to get shit. That's where, like, I don't know what happened. It felt like episode 3 to, like, episode maybe 5. Bro, I don't know. I think fucking Leslie Headland took the fucking wheel or something, you know? The person who wrote the Rey trilogy. I think there was 2 people. I can't remember their names, but those dudes fucking took the wheel for a second. And they had to just ruin, like, a pretty good start to a show. And episode 3 starts with, like, Mando trying to land on a, I think it was the Mon Calamari planet. Is it just Mon Calamari? Or is it might be called something else, but tries to land on the planet, and while he's trying to land, ship's not in good shape. He's being told, oh, you know, please slow down, whatever, mutes it, and he makes the landing, and then, oh, JK funny, he doesn't actually make the landing because it falls into the water. Then they have to haul it out. And then he walks up to the Mon Calamari, gives him some currency, and is like, fix the ship. Alright, cool. Whatever. You get a pass. That's like your first kind of cringe joke. You could have just had Mando barely make it while his ship's pretty fucked up. I don't understand why, you know, it has to be so extra. Where, like, that's what I mean. Like, this little... When you're watching it, you just know the writers intended you to laugh here. You know, like, when they're writing the script, it's like, this moment, Mando makes the landing with the broken ship, just barely on the landing pad. Oh, and then it falls into the ship, and then it falls into the water. Cue laughter. You know, that's what the writing basically says. But yeah, episode 3, you know, he shows up to the bar, gives the Mon Calamari the currency that he earned in season 1 because they couldn't give him the credits he was asking for. So I thought that was a cute little reference. But then that guy goes to another guy, and then that guy goes to him, and then that guy tells him to go meet some other guy. And then they go on a ship out in the open because they say they know where Mandalorians are. Meanwhile, actual Mandalorians there catch an eye. I guess they see it happening. And they go to the rescue after Mando gets betrayed by the fish people. And then he's like, oh, I finally found my people. And then they're like, they take off their helmets, and he's like, oh, that's not the way, bro. And then Bo-Katan and the crew's just like, well, you're from the ways of old or something like that. I can't remember the exact quote. You're from the old ways or whatever. Smile, being all cocky like, and then Mando's just like, huh, that is not the way. Takes Grogu. Leave me alone. And he just flies off. I don't know. That whole, like, scene I just thought was pretty fucking crazy. That literally felt like Mando turned into emo teenager and just was just like, huh, you're not Mandalorian. Huh. Yeah. You're not like us. Yeah. And he just took fucking Grogu and went off. I don't know. I thought, just for me, it just felt like really cringe. And then Mando gets in trouble with the fish people that think he's the one that killed the fish people. So Bo-Katan jumps down, saves him again. And then Mando starts coming around. It's like, yeah, maybe you guys are aight, you know? And then Bo-Katan, I think, is like, oh, I know where other people are, but you gotta help me do this thing. And Mando was like, aight, cool. So they go do a thing. Ends up being an Imperial shuttle. I think they're hijacking or whatever. Pretty cool, pretty fine. A lot of jokes are being cracked throughout the thing. Just a lot of just like one-liners. Like, I can't think of one off the top of my head that happened, but I just remember watching it and being like, can we just hurry this up, you know? And then it's sort of, Sort of a cool moment where an Imperial officer gets captured and then he kills himself via eating in-game, via like biting on something, and that causes him to die, and he's like, oh, for the Empire. So that's some cool cultism stuff going on. Episode 4. What the fuck was episode 4? Hold up. Let me just log in real quick. Let me see. Mando. What was episode 4? Oh, oh, this is why I don't fucking... Jesus Christ. Okay, episode 4 might be the worst episode in Mando, okay? But so far, episode 3 is, like, alright. It's like a 5 out of 10 episode. It's kind of... It's slow, it's boring, and it's very, like, Mando acting like an angsty teen. There's some okay, cool moments, but some moments where it's just, like... you know, I don't know. Like, Mando, when he just ran at some of those troopers, like, fucking covering up while they were blasting him, and the other guys running behind him, I thought it's just a little, like, OP, you know? But I guess that's the point. I don't know, it just felt very... There's no, like, risk. Like, I know none of these people are getting harmed. I know nothing bad's gonna happen, and I know there's just gonna be some dumb joke afterwards, but, yeah. Episode 4 is where... Moff Gideon, I think, requested help again or something like that. But Mando ends up back on... I literally just said it. Core... I can't fucking remember the name. The main planet, the asphalt planet, the lava planet. But yeah, he shows up there again. Grief Karga is like, yo, Mando, need your help, little bro. So there's some Imperial troopers that have been flying around. But if we get rid of them, we can prosper and become a great city. And Mando's like, yeah, but, you know, I could, but, I need to find some place for the child, I think was the whole thing. But, Grief ends up convincing him, and then we see one of the prisoners that Grief Karga had, being the fish dude. I forget his name. He's blue, he's got gills, and he's like an accountant now. Even though he was originally imprisoned for doing something regarding his job that he's currently doing. So, a little questionable there, but alright, you know. But they end up going to the Imperial base there, and the Imperial, ex-Imperial shock trooper, ex-shock trooper lady, ends up joining them because she's like the sheriff of the town or whatever. They end up going to the Imperial place, and this is where, like, this is where it's just too much for me. Like, every 3 seconds, it felt like they were trying to get, like, a cue laughter moment, you know? The fish guy, he would complain about something, and Grief would be like, how does minus 100 years off your sentence sound? Huh, you ungrateful swine. And it's just like, damn, you're being that lenient for him just driving you somewhere? Okay. And then they get dropped off, and then he's waiting in the car, and he complains about it taking too long. And then he's like, and then Grief Karga's like, how about another minus 75 years off your sentence, huh? And he's like, wow, that sounds pretty good. Lifts up his fucking pants and starts walking over and starts diddling with the thing. He opens the door, and they ask him to come with them. He's like, what, you expect me to come? You know, my gills are drying out here, you know, or whatever the fuck. Just another weird moment. And then Grief is just like, well, or no, I think it's the shock trooper who's like, yeah, well, if you stay out here, enjoy the lava tide going in. Then why did you bring the speeder? If there's just gonna be a lava tide that ruins the speeder, which is gonna be your exit on the way. Hey, yeah, you know what? Episode 4 was just shit, you know, it just was. You know, they get to the Imperial base, they start killing some of the troopers. One of the guys, the fish guy, just starts glazing a Marauder, I think is what the vehicle's called. And he talks about how much money it's worth. Just garbage, just like coming out of their mouth constantly about shit that doesn't matter, shit that's not interesting, shit that like doesn't build character at all. And just shit that's annoying. And then they make it into the files. They realize like Moff Gideon's still alive, and they're like, oh shit, Moff is alive, we need to get out of here. And I think they like destroy the reactor core or something, and then they get in the Marauder and they escape. And then there's like a TIE fighter shoot down, where the TIE fighters are going after Marauder. Mando ends up leaving first with his jetpack, and he makes it to his Razor Crest, flies around, kills the TIE fighters. Yeah, I mean, I just thought like the scene was very long. It felt very drawn out, and it felt like those like shitty comments made every 3 seconds, those like small talk every 3-second moments, that was to extend the time of the episode. And it was just like, I would have preferred if we just cut to the chase. This is fucking terrible. But yeah, I thought the dialogue was pretty cringe, and I thought it was pretty bad in episode 4. But by the end of it, I think he returns to space. Oh yeah, and he gets... What was the reasoning? I don't remember how, but he ends up going to a planet to seek out a Jedi, I think. Yeah, because the whole goal in Season 2 is that he's trying to find a Jedi to reunite Grogu with, because Grogu has the Force. So he goes out, finds the planet, heard a tale of a Jedi there, I think, lands on the planet. Pretty barren planet. I think it's from Tales of the Empire. I recently watched that. Maybe I'll do a review of that. But planet covered in ash, covered in burnt trees. And then it's like one village. Villagers can't talk to outsiders. Droids are cool. Droids are pretty cool there. I think the droids are a big W. Big W on the droids. Outside of that, there's like an Indian lady holding a Beskar staff. For some reason, it gets explained a little bit better in the Tales of the Empire. And to be honest, without Tales of the Empire, this is another dog shit episode, in my opinion. It's like the last episode, episode 4, I think is like literally like a 3 out of 10. Episode 5, I genuinely think is like a 4 out of 10 without the context of Tales of the Empire. But yeah. Indian lady, she's like in her quarters, and she's like, oh, you're a Mandalorian, you're a bounty hunter, go kill this Jedi, we have a Jedi problem. He's like, I bet. Obviously the intention is that he's gonna like betray them. You find out that Ahsoka's the one there, through the intro of the episode. Ahsoka, like, the Ahsoka part was like alright, where she's using the mist and attacking the troopers, and then using the mist again, and then attacking more of the troopers. I don't know what type of trooper they are. They're like some sort of Imperial, not like a stormtrooper. I don't think. I think there's some different type of thing. But yeah. And then Mando goes out, hunts down Ahsoka. Ahsoka attacks him. We get like an okay fight scene, I guess. And then Din Djarin's basically like, oh, I want you to take care of this guy, my little Grogu. And Ahsoka's like, nah, he's too old, can't do it. I've seen old apprentices train before, it's a bad idea. Or it's something like that. It's something where like, nah, I'm not gonna train, it's too late for the process or something. He's too attached to you, I think was the quote to Din Djarin. And Din Djarin's like, well, if I do this thing for you, can you train the child and we'll call it even? And she was like, I bet we can do something like that. So the plan is now Mando betrays the city government people, I guess, and goes there, betrays the officer. Indian lady only wants to see Ahsoka, or doesn't want to see anyone. She's just held up in the building, is what it is. It's a little weird, but all right, I guess. You know, staff lady. And then there's like a shootout between Mando and the droids. Well, Ahsoka goes ahead and gets into the back room, has a one-on-one fight with the Beskar staff wielding lady, and she almost loses. Which I get it, she's older, but like, shouldn't this be like prime Ahsoka? Am I crazy? She's like 16, 17 in the Clone Wars, right? Or like 15, something like that in the Clone Wars. And then I'm assuming by Rebels, she's what, like 30s? So this is probably what, like her in her 40s? Early 50s, maybe? I could be off on like the timelines there, but I don't know, man. It just felt like it's a Disney effect, I guess, but it was slow. She was dual wielding and lost to a staff. She got disarmed by a staff, I should say, not lost. But then it was looking like she was about to lose, and then she ends up getting the upper hand with one blade. And classic, like, hero loses the advantages but still wins and triumph. It was just a very, like, I would see this in a fucking Pixar film or like maybe not Pixar, a DreamWorks film or some shit. You know, I don't know. Like it felt very plot armory, I guess, but I don't really care too much. I mean, Ahsoka's going like she's supposed to win anyways, but it just felt very like, why the fuck are you gonna have her actually get outmatched by this chick we know nothing about, we've seen nothing about in the franchise, and then she still ends up winning even though she gets disarmed partially. It's just weird. I don't know. Maybe it's me being a nitpicker, but I think it's a little weird. I felt like she should have just easily beat that bitch. Just my honest take. Just my honest take, bro. I genuinely feel like that should have just been a wash. Prime Ahsoka, like, I don't know. Anyways, Mando does his thing. City people are happy. They're finally being liberated. I think, you know, they do some liberation. She loses. I think I don't remember if she dies or gets imprisoned or something. She's technically a Night Sister, if you haven't watched Tales of the Empire. So that's something, I guess. -1 for the Night Sisters. And then Mando gets on a ship. Ahsoka doesn't keep her promise and it's like, yeah, you gotta go find this stone, and the stone will tell you the Jedi that is meant for the child, even though, again, it's just a random thing they added, I guess. That was in the DLC that I didn't buy, I guess, in the Clone Wars. I don't remember any Padawan seeking the Seek Stone or whatever the fuck. I don't know. Weird. Episode 6. The tragedy. Oh, I think it was them trying to find the stone. They find the stone. That's when Boba Fett appears, I want to say. Yeah, that's got to be it, right? Yeah. Episode 6 was like a 5 out of 10. I thought the Ahsoka parts were like mid just because of how shit Ahsoka looked in those fights. She looked very slow. Everything looked very like, yeah. Yeah. Like, if you gave me a lightsaber and 10 minutes of practice, I am dueling better than Ahsoka. I'm telling you right now. And I ain't a Force wielder, okay? But, yeah. I don't know. I just thought it was shit. And then, yeah, episode 6, Boba Fett gets introduced. He's basically only hunting down the Mando for his armor, because Mando obtained Boba Fett's armor from episode 1. So Boba Fett's like, yo, give me the armor, you can keep the kid. Mando's like, I can drop you faster than you can drop me. Meanwhile, Grogu's on the Seeking Stone, you know, conversing with something, I guess, I don't know, Force stuff. And then Mando tries to, like, stop it before they get invaded by Boba Fett, and it doesn't work because he gets forced out. Runs over, Boba Fett threatens him. Mando's like, I can drop you faster, I'm the one wearing Beskar. And then he reveals Fennec Shan's still alive for some fucking reason. Why the fuck did we keep Fennec Shan alive, Dad? Oh, man. I don't know. I thought Fennec Shan was a shit character. But anyways, even in fucking Bad Batch Season 1, that I did watch, I thought Fennec Shan was also a shit character. I don't know why the fuck we're keeping Fennec Shan, but alright, but yeah, Fennec Shan threatens to kill the kid, I think. And he's like, you can have the armor or whatever. And then Imperial show up. And then Boba basically said, you give me the armor, I'll protect the kid. And Mando agrees to give him the armor. So Boba goes to the ship, I believe, to get the armor. And then after he gets the armor, ship blows up. Boba and Fennec are killing Imperial stormtroopers. Boba's part was cool. I think he did pretty cool with his fucking Tusken staff and like aura farming a little bit, talking to the Mando he was, like the way he was. I just felt like Fennec Shan's part was so shit. I don't know. She had a sniper. Her whole thing is that she's very accurate. Cool, fine, right? But typically, when you need to be accurate as a sniper, you'd assume, you know, distance is a big thing. But she's just running up to people, CQ being fucking sniper shotting them, quick scoping, point blank range, no scoping some of those Imperial stormtroopers in moments. And there was literally like 3 or 4 moments where there's just 4 stormtroopers pointed at her. One shoots, she dodges it, or it just misses, and I get a stormtrooper aim. But then she shoots one, and then she drops all of them before any of them kill. Or one of them's just running at her, with a gun, getting the blaster 2 inches from her fucking forehead, and still hesitating to shoot. Who the fuck trains these guys? I don't know. I just thought that was... I thought Fennec Shan's combat part was fucking horrible, but I thought Boba Fett's was pretty cool. The coolest thing I think Fennec Shan did was when she got shot at by a mortar, which was a little interesting to see in Star Wars. She fucking pushed a boulder, and the boulder like hit a bunch of stormtroopers. So I thought that part was fine. Yeah, but Light Cruiser shows up, shoots the things down. They deployed the Death Troopers. Death Troopers go after the kid. Kid gets stolen, despite Mando running into the Force aura thing 4 fucking times. He ran into it the first time being like, yo, kid, we need to go. He gets pushed away. Runs into it a second time, yo, kid, we really need to go. Gets pushed in, knocked out, and the moment he wakes up, he tries to go into the Force thing again, and he gets pushed out again. Is he insane? Like, what the fuck? Who wrote that? Who's like, you know, it'd be sick. What if we have Mando attempt to get Grogu out 3 times, right? The second one will knock him out. And what does he do as soon as he wakes up? He tries to do it again, expecting a different result. Yes, that... Oh, cinema. That's good. Everyone's gonna love that. I don't know. I feel like... Bro, episode 6 was littered with fucking problems. I don't know. People talk like season 2's like pretty good. Bro, episode 4, 5, and 6 are pretty bad. It has good moments, but they're pretty bad episodes overall. Death Troopers were cool though. They come down, take the kid. Kid gets stolen. Boba Fett shoots down one of the Imperial carriers of troops with the jetpack. That's cool. Feel like we've never seen Boba Fett use the rocket on his back. That might be misinformation, but I feel like I don't remember a moment. But that moment's like a pretty cool moment. Even though he missed his target, and that's why he got 2 birds with 1 stone. Another just like, Disney, why? You can just say, like, why? This is what I mean by these stupid, like, 3-second one-liner jokes. Boba Fett uses a target finder, shoots the rocket off his back, it hits a ship, it hits the other ship, he hits both ships with 1 rocket, ending in a cool moment, cool explosion. He turns around, explosion behind him. Cinema moment! And then someone says, nice shot. And then he's like, ugh, I missed my target. Who the fuck is, like... is this just where the audience is supposed to clap? You could have just have him target the right target, being the ship on the right, hitting the ship on the right, and just having a cool moment. Why does it have to be like I accidentally did something cool? Wasn't that cool? I just thought it was fucking retarded, man. I don't know. I just think it's stupid when they do shit like that. And then after that whole thing, Boba's like, we'll honor our deal. I said I'd protect the kid. Kid got stolen. I'll help you until the kid gets back. So that's whatever. He gets on the Slave One and they go on their ship. And they find a way to find the... What's it called? Or no, that's when episode 7 starts. Episode 7, they find the former shock trooper. They're like, yo, we need to get this guy out of... Or we need to find a way to get this kid back, because Moff Gideon stole it. Shock trooper's like, I know a guy. Goes to pick up Mayfield, Bill Burr. And Bill Burr, he goes ahead and helps out the Mando. This is where... Normally, it's like, cringe, way too much humor, let's stop the humor. Episode 7 genuinely is it's probably the best episode of the first 2 seasons. Huh. Yeah, I'd say it's probably the best. I think episode 7 season 2 is the best episode of the first 2 seasons. I'll say it. But yeah, Bill Burr gets caught up. They go to the planet to get the location of the light cruiser, the Imperial planet, and the whole plan is basically, because Mayfield is former Imperial, his code will still work. He has connections with the Imperials. They're gonna hijack what appears to be an Imperial juggernaut, you know, aka an Imperial turbo tank. Kind of a cool vehicle, but a little bit like a shittier version of a turbo tank. But the idea is that they steal that, they steal the armor, they go in, they get the codes and whatever. There's like a few disagreements, spats here and there, but overall it's not like anything crazy. But Bill Burr's like cracking jokes. And they steal the armor. They joke a little bit about how the armor fits Mando and everything. Because he's not supposed to take his helmet off, but he took off all of his gear. And you have like an interesting dialogue. Like, Disney did well with having real life personalities put into their game, or into their story, or I should say Mandalorian did well, like real characters put into their story and have them kind of act like how you'd imagine. Like, Mayfield is like perfect what I imagine Bill Burr in Star Wars be. You know, a little bit of a funny guy, a little bit of a rogue, you know, maybe a former military guy, jokes around with ideologies, you know, cracks jokes a lot of the time, but a lot of his jokes have like subtle undertones of like truth to it. You know, like when he's cracking jokes with Mando and he's like, I don't understand why, everyone in your clan believes in a cult, you know, not wearing a helmet and stuff. But all of a sudden, when it comes to rescuing this kid, you know, you're willing to take off the whole armor. So is it you can't take off the helmet, or is it you can't take off the armor? Which one is it, Mando? You know, and he brings up some like genuine, okay questions, and it's like a thought-provoking, like, you know what, this is kind of interesting to hear from a neutral in the galaxy, where Mandalorian's very much like one side of Mandalore versus the other side of Mandalore, where one believes whoever holds the sword is the king, where the other one believes whoever follows the way and the old ways is the king. It's a cool idea to present from Mayfield, you know? But they arrive via a few combat encounters, little goofy, I guess, during the combat with the detonators and all the raiders and everything. But I thought it was really cool when it's like when they make it, the Imperials are like saluting them, they're like congratulating them, everything like that. I thought that was pretty cool, because it's like, these are Imperials, but as a viewer, you're like, oh yeah, this is a time to celebrate, and the Imperials are celebrating. Well, it's a very like, wow, I didn't think I'd be celebrating with fucking stormtroopers in big 2025, you know? So I don't know, I thought it was kind of cool. It was an interesting way of doing it, because they're obviously still in disguise. They get to the terminal. This is where it loses like points for me, like heavily. It's not a perfect episode by any means, but this is where like bro takes his helmet off. Mando, he takes his helmet off. He takes it off for a long period of time. I'm fine with that, because it's to get codes, because his face recognition worked for Imperial. I don't know if there's like some hidden lore I'm missing there, but but the thing with that, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with not explaining how his face scan worked. What I'm more or less okay with was how much of a pussy Mando was made to look with his helmet off. You know, it really did kind of feel like a Kylo Ren moment. Like, I know Kylo Ren's a dog shit character, and Mando's nowhere near as dog shit as Kylo Ren. But I don't know what Disney's fixation is, but when you have someone whose aura is defined by having a helmet on, keep the fucking helmet on, please, or don't show the guy's face to his audience. I get it, you have Pedro Pascal, so you gotta show you have diversity in your fucking film. But my whole thing is that if you're gonna have Mando take off his helmet, he should be stoic. He should be like war veteran-esque sort of stance. He shouldn't be like, oh god, I'm in an Imperial stronghold right now. Oh god. Oh, I'm sitting down with an Imperial officer right now. Oh god. You know? And it's fine after Bill Burr makes a joke to the Imperial officer that they sit down with, like, oh, he's deaf, that's why it's, you know, he's not responding properly. But when Mando's like that, when I see Pedro Pascal like this, oh god, I don't think fucking Mando. I think, wow, this guy's a pussy. Not Pedro Pascal, but like the actual character in Star Wars. I'm like, wow, this guy's a bitch. Like, this guy's Kylo Ren, baby raging, fucking, you know, about to go smash a console for no reason. You know what I mean? Like, it's, I don't know. It just felt very soy to me. I don't know. But, you know, Bill Burr, when he was egoing the fuck out of that Imperial officer. By the way, best actor in the entire show. I'll 10 toes down this. Best actor in the entire show. Don't remember the officer's name. But that Imperial officer that sat down with Bill Burr and they were chatting about the Crimson, was it Crimson Dawn or Crimson something that happened? Some sort of event that happened where a lot of troopers died, but the higher ups were chilling and it was all according to plan or whatever. That actor genuinely might be the best actor in the entire Mandalorian fucking series. Oh, the voice, perfect. The way he moved, perfect. His facial, like everything was just, that was a perfect actor right there, you know? And I'm not like trying to shit on the other actors. I really do feel like it was a direction problem, not like the actors being the problem. But that actor was fucking peak. Absolutely cinema. But yeah, Bill Burr starts egoing the Imperial officer, and you get like a tense moment where you're like, oh, shit, is something about to go down? Something a little unexpected happened. Bill Burr whips out the gat and fucking guns down the officer. They leave. Bill Burr says he'll never tell anyone about Mandalorian's face, whatever. They get to the roof, they escape, and they act like, and this is where like comedy's okay, because we just went through a really big serious moment. Bill Burr's a comedical character, and they joke about not even seeing him. They're like, damn, it sucks that he died on that trip, eh? Yeah, I guess we just won't have to take him to prison at least, you know? And he's like, does this mean I'm free to go? And they're like still joking about him being gone. That is fine. But do it after serious, tense moments like that. That's where, like, episode 7 cleared it up, you know? And then episode 8 was, like, Bo-Katan, and everyone got together, and they all found the light cruiser, and they went in there, fought Moff Gideon. Half of the episode was pretty cool. Them actually talking about the plan was cool. I feel like it's very rare these days to get, like, an actual, like, okay, here's the plan, we're gonna go here, do this, da-da-da. A lot of times they just do it, and then they show you a flashback of the plan or whatever. But, you know, I thought it was a nice change of pace, I guess. They go into it. They do well. Yeah, but episode 8, pretty good. They fight Moff Gideon. Great episode. Moff Gideon does some oral farming with the Death Troopers. Death Troopers get sent into space. They come back. You get Luke Skywalker come back, and he's fucking slaying the droids. Gets in. Gets Grogu as, like, an apprentice. Pretty aight. But the lip sync when Luke Skywalker was talking was like so fucking terrible. Holy shit, it was so bad. Oh my god. Hey, like this. Hey, how are you doing today? It was. Ah, man, what are we doing, man, at the fucking offices, bro? Like, how many billions of dollars has Disney made off Star Wars? And we can't get lip syncing right? Are we serious? And I get it's CGI or whatever, but like, fuck me. Jesus Christ. Anyways, but yeah, overall, I think episode 1 and 2, pretty good. Episode 3 started the downtrend. And then it cleared up by episode 7. Yeah, episode 7, right? I'm thinking correctly. Yeah. Yeah, but I would say a good chunk of the season sucked. So I would have to put season 2 in like the 5 out of 10. I don't think season 2 was that good. I think season 1 was definitely better, so I agree with a lot of people there. I thought season 2 was pretty bad. A majority of it, you know? I get it if you're like an OT fan and you saw the Luke Skywalker moment and you're like fucking busting a load to it. For me, it's like, oh, it's cool. But, you know, that's kind of it. Like, he went in there and killed a few droids. The Death Troopers are cool. But it doesn't make up for the cringe fucking humor in episode, like, 4 with the fish dude and the fish people betraying Mando and Mando being, like, an edgy teen for half an episode. Like, I just didn't enjoy it. But moving on to season 3, the final season of Mandalorian, as I believe they are, what's it called? They're doing a movie, and that's going to be it. I don't think they're going to do another season of Mandalorian. Obviously, if they do, I'll probably redo the rankings. I genuinely think season 3 is the best season. I'll say it. I think season 3 is the best season. I thought season 1 was slow and a little boring at times, but it had an okay payoff. I thought season 3 was genuinely, like, really fucking good. All of the side arcs I actually really enjoyed, even, like, side characters and shit. And if you haven't watched season 3, because you've heard a lot of, like, oh, it's Bo-Katan season 1 is Mandalorian season 3, because it's all about Bo-Katan, or you hear this is where it gets really cringy, or you hear, like, the direction is pretty terrible. I just don't agree, you know? And maybe it's because I'm a Clone Wars, like, absolute fucking simp for the Clone Wars. I don't mind Bo-Katan getting the screen time she gets, and I don't feel like Bo-Katan's the main character being pushed as like the next main character. Like, I can see it as, oh, I don't like season 3 because it's clear they're trying to make Bo-Katan be the next main character so they can make Bo-Katan an actual side spin-off series. But I kind of get it because Mando is kind of like done, you know? Like, he's kind of did, even the start of season 2, he's done his objective, or the season 3, he's done his objective. You know, he doesn't need to do anything more. He let the baby go in Luke Skywalker's care. I don't know what happened. Maybe I'm missing context or something. Maybe I missed like an after credit scene. But I don't know how Grogu got back in Mando's care. But anyways, Grogu is back in Mando's care. But what was episode 1? The Apostate. Oh, that's where he got banished because he took off his helmet. But yeah, I thought the season overall was pretty good. We'll go through it episode by episode like I've been doing. Episode 1, pretty good. I'd say you find out that Mando got banished because he took off his helmet, and that's against the creed. So he has to go bathe in the waters of Mandalore. It's bathed in some waters. I can't remember the name, but it's Mandalorian waters, basically. But Mandalorian's off limits because the Empire bombed the shit out of it. It's got a not safe atmosphere, stuff like that. So Mando's like, I gotta find a way to get to the planet and everything like that. Is this what I think it is? Convert, Foundling. Yeah, I think this is the order I'm thinking it goes in. Ruins of a destroyed planet. Is that? I'm pretty sure that's Mandalore, isn't it? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what happens. So, he gets banished. He tries to go redeem himself. I think he goes to Bo-Katan. Bo-Katan's like, fuck off. I want to be alone because I lost Moff Gideon, and then you fucking can't give me the saber because I have to kill you, so fuck off, Mando. And Mando's like, yeah, but I need to bathe in Mandalorian waters. And she's like, yeah, well, that sucks for you. Mandalorian's off limits, buddy. And he's like, I bet. I'm gonna go to Mandalore and come back and tell you it's safe, bitch. Leaves, gets in his N1 Starfighter, which I thought was a pretty cool ship. You don't see a lot of N1 Starfighters, you know, ever since the Naboo area and Phantom Menace. I feel like I haven't seen a single N1 Starfighter. But gets in a ship, goes to Mandalore. I think he has to get like a droid or something. He's like searching for a droid for half the episode. And originally it was supposed to be IG-11, but IG-11 died. So they tried getting IG-12, but they couldn't get it ready enough. You see Babu Frick. Interesting appearance, you know? Hey, Babu Frick stocks went up when I saw this, okay? I might have to get that advent calendar for Lego now that I've seen Babu Frick in The Mandalorian. But, yeah, so try to repair the droid. Droid can't get repaired. So he's like, I bet. I'm gonna go somewhere else, try to find a droid. Goes to the lady who fixed the Razor Crest before. And she's like, oh, I got this droid for you. And it's a droid that comes in that 4+ set for Lego. Can't remember his name. It's an astromech. Takes the astromech so he can get some navigation coordinates or some shit. Gets to Mandalore, lands on Mandalore, goes through the inner works of Mandalore, finds some creatures that resemble, I guess, Mandalorian Tusken Raider types. You know, they've got staves and they're beast type of creatures, and they're trying to kill Mando. Mando kills them. He ends up exploring a little bit. I think we're moving on into episode 2 here. He's exploring a lot of the land. And while he's exploring the tunnels, a big crab droid comes out of nowhere. Takes Mando after he spots like some dead Mandalorians. Like Mandalorian armor. And then you get to see the crab droid take away Mando. And Grogu escapes. And Mando's like, get Bo-Katan. Grogu gets Bo-Katan. Bo-Katan lands on the planet. And it's doing alright. I think that's where episode 3 comes in. On Coruscant. Oh, no. Yeah, I think it's part of episode 3. But regardless, Bo-Katan goes, saves Mando, kills the droid with the General Grievous type of technology things going on. Pretty cool droid. Thought it was sick. Crab droid. Thought it was sick. Mandalorian being absolutely decimated from the Empire. Thought it was cool. Mines cavern areas looked pretty cool to me. They found out the atmosphere was safe, and it was actually just like rumors that it was unsafe to breathe. So that's why Mando dropped down in the first place. Mando gets saved. They get the Darksaber and they skedaddle. And then I think what happens afterwards is part of episode 3, where we get the arc of the scientist from season 1. He returns, but he's being reformed into the New Republic. But he meets someone there who's former Empire. The former Empire person is sort of like kind of egging him on, but he's sort of like reluctant to really resume his research because it's about cloning. And I thought it was like a cool plot point with the cloning stuff. By the way, I watched all this like just now. All 8 hours of it I've watched like just now. So that's why, yeah, you're going to be getting a lot here, I guess. But just a speed run because this video is already pretty fucking long and I got work in the morning. Well, where was I? Yeah, so the Imperial scientist, he gets edged on a little bit. He gets, like, influenced to go to a scrapyard that he's not supposed to go to. He goes there with the former Imperial person. She says she's done it before. They have a little bit of a chase scene. They escape. They get to the place. The guy gets captured. Turns out she betrayed him and was like, haha, JK. Yeah, I was the one who captured you. And I was like, a man on the inside, if you will, because you learn, like, the Imperials are all being in a program and stuff like that. And you see how, like, that reform program's going and stuff. It's pretty interesting stuff, in my opinion. I thought it was pretty cool. Guy gets captured, and then she convinces the guys, like, yeah, I'm a friend of his. I want to watch this happen, as they do a memory wipe, which is not a memory wipe. It's supposed to, like, memory wipe is supposed to soothe the brain or whatever. She amplifies it while no one's watching, ends up killing him. And you find out later on that she's, like, part of Moff Gideon's sort of troop, because Moff Gideon got captured in season 2, but he never received trial, and the records were classified, probably via someone in Moff Gideon's ranks or something like that, scrubbing the data. But, yeah, so that happens, and then we cut to the Mandalorian part where Bo-Katan, Mando, they land on the secret hideout of the This Is the Way people, the helmet wearers, I guess. And the helmet wearers don't take too kindly to the lies that Mando's spreading that he bathed in the waters. He goes over there, shows them he bathed in the waters, says that Grogu's a foundling. You get some foundling stuff. You get to see what foundlings are doing. Basically just young Mandalorians. And Bo-Katan's considered one of them as well, because she technically bathed in the waters as well. One of the foundlings gets captured. You get like, you get just like meat and potatoes of like how the Mandalorians work. I think this part's sick. And if we go episode for episode, episode 4 of season 3 is way better than episode 4 of season 2, in my opinion. Not even fucking close. You can argue it's a dumb idea that just a random creature pulls up, takes the kid, runs away, and we have a whole episode of like trying to get that kid to safety. But I get it. Paz Vizsla's there. Paz Vizsla reveals that that's his kid, and that's why he's so eager to get the kid, and why he didn't want anyone shooting at the bird while it was going away, even though it's massive. Stuff like that. Yeah, you get some interesting Mandalorian stuff. Then we move on to episode 5, which is the pirates. Pirates end up showing up at Corvent, the main planet lava area that is now flourishing and everything. You know, Grief Karga's living the high life. Pirates show up. They're not too kind because Grief Karga has not been reciprocating the same sort of loyalty that they showed, or I guess like same sort of funds they showed, because you find out Grief Karga got a lot of funding from pirates. So Pirate King shows up. They do a little bit of blasting again. The lip sync is fucking atrocious. It's some of the worst I've ever seen with that pirate captain, where he's just like yapping. Like, how the fuck do we have Davy Jones from Pirates of the Caribbean, but we can't get the mouth synced up right in any Star Wars film? Or I guess any Mandalorian episode. Like, what the fuck are we doing? Anyways, both I think owned by Disney, by the way, so no excuse. But, yeah. Pirates attack. They call Mando's help. Mando shows up with Bo-Katan. They do a little bit of wraparound. This is where it gets a little bit like... You're stretching it a little thin with how much plot armor you're using here, but I thought it's fine for the most part. Mando's like a good pilot. He showcases his pilot skills by outmaneuvering a lot of the pirates, kills a bunch of the pirates, distracts the pirates. Then the main ship gets attacked by Bo-Katan. Then the main pirate orders the rest of them to go for Bo-Katan. Bo-Katan deals with them. They take out the big ship. Most of the citizens are safe. And then because Bo-Katan's considered the main bloodline, Bo-Katan also launches her own assault with the masked on people. And then they drop down and they take part of the planet, and they only agreed to come because they were promised land there. Grief Karga has no problem with that because he promised Mando land. So a lot of cool moments there. I thought it was pretty sick shootouts. I thought it was pretty cool space battle. As much as, like, 10 pirate snub fighters chasing down the one N1 star fighter, and Mando still comes on top. A little sus, but outside of that, I thought it was pretty cool to watch. Pretty fun to enjoy. Also, watching the X-Wing pilot, like, try to find a way to help out a civilization because he's the good guys, even though, like, the political aspects are taking too long. But yeah, I thought all that was fine. And then we move on to Guns for Hire, which was... Oh, this is when Bo-Katan's trying to unite the clans with the Armorer, I think her name is. So she's trying to unite the clans to go find the rest of her crew because she lost, and she lost the rights to the rest of her crew. So she goes to find the rest of her clan. The rest of her clan are stationed on a planet. In order to get to that clan area, though, she needs to earn... the favor of the planet's senator, I guess? Dignitary? Duchess, I think was the word. You find out Jack Black and his wife is the Duchess. And then they have a bit of a problem with droids. I think this part's cool. This is a little... This arc was like a iRobots, but in Star Wars. It's a little bit goofy in moments, and it had its problems. But I thought it was pretty fun. A little bit of a side arc. But yeah, they find out there's malfunctions going on with the droids. They talk to the Ugnaughts. They find out about the droid bar. Droid bar's cool. Mando starts kicking some of the B2 battle droids that are reprogrammed for storage. You get a chase scene like that, where the B2 goes rogue. I think it's really cool. I'm a big fan of droids. I like them implementing Imperial droids as, like, citizen helpers or whatever. Probably the worst part about the whole side arc here is where Bo-Katan electrocutes the guy about to press, like, the reset button that turns off all droids, and it sends the city into pandemonium. Just before he does it, he gets shocked and electrocuted, and she just says, like, one of those cringe lines, like, politicians. Why? I mean, you could have just shocked him and then just grabbed them. I mean, you didn't... Anyways, just, more Disney humor. It is what it is. But that was, like, one of the first moments I noticed it in the whole season. I thought the rest of it was pretty much fine. But, yeah, so Bo-Katan, for the most part, she's actually getting kind of bitched by Mando. Like, Mando doesn't have a jetpack, and he's doing a lot of athletic moves, like jumping through the alleyway and everything. Bo-Katan requires the jetpack to do it. Bo-Katan tries to rush through the Ugnaughts, being like, yeah, you guys are having malfunctions. And Mando's like, step back, alright? Let me do this. And talks to the Ugnaughts, and then the Ugnaughts, like, or give them some more information and stuff. So, yeah, I thought it was fine. Bo-Katan trying to get her leadership back. They go meet with the rest of the Mandalorians. They have a little bit of a battle. They give logic and reasoning why Bo-Katan deserves the Darksaber. And Mando gives Bo-Katan the Darksaber, and she becomes the leader of the pack again, via beating the other guy, even though I think the guy should have died. Alright, I think Bo-Katan should have killed him. But other than that, don't really have too many problems, because he didn't say he submits, so should have been a death there, just saying. But yeah, I thought that part was fine. Move on to episode 7 of season 3, and it's a lot of just, like, you find out a lot of background information. Moff Gideon's escaped. He's working on a cloning program for himself. He's talking with the Shadow leaders, which are a bunch of Imperial guys. That's pretty cool. I thought all of this was pretty cool. Episode 7 and 8 I thought were great. I thought they were like 9 out of 10 episodes. Genuinely, I could put season 3 a 9 out of 10. Would not mind. Paz Vizsla dying, I thought was like a pretty cool moment. I thought what are they called? Not Senate guards. What are those red guys called? Imperial Imperial guards or something like that. The dudes in the red suits. I can't remember off the top of my head. But those guys were pretty cool. They finally do something. I feel like that's the only fucking time we see those dudes cloaked in red do anything, and they actually kill someone. So I thought that was pretty cool. There's a few moments where it's like Bo-Katan cuts through the door behind them instead of cutting through the door in front of them, which would have probably saved Mando. But other than that, it's like, yeah, okay, I get it. She, makes an escape route instead of like forcing her way through the doors because there's a lot of troopers there. So I get it. Moff Gideon showcases that he's kitted out all of his troopers with Beskar, so it's like even playing fields with the Mandalorians. But you have all the Mandalorians, even like the natives ones that's been there for a while with some backstory and everything. And yeah, episode 7 and 8 is pretty much just war between the Imperial dudes wearing Beskar and Moff Gideon, between all three different factions of Mandalorians: the natives, the helmet wearers, and the non-helmet wearing believers, and all of them fight. Pretty cool. Some of the fight scenes are a little slow with the sabers, specifically Mando fighting Moff Gideon and Moff Gideon fighting Bo-Katan. Like, those are a little slow. I thought it was pretty cool overall, though. I thought everything was pretty sick, and I genuinely think season 3 is like pretty good. Maybe it's gonna age poorly, and if I start thinking about it a lot, I'll start finding a lot more reasonings to hate it. I didn't mind the side arcs of like Imperial spies being on Coruscant. The foundling getting captured, Grogu doing a backflip over that kid and fucking just decimating him in that game. Yeah, I thought like everything was pretty good. I thought season 3 is by far better than season 2. I don't even think it's close. Like, I think if I had to go every category or like which one's the best, I'd say season 3 is the best. I'd say season 1 is pretty good, and I'd say season 2 is like kind of shit. It's like barely average, I'd say. I think it's barely, I give it like barely a pass, like its end's pretty good and its start is okay, its middle is dog shit. But yeah, that's pretty much how I'd rank it. Yeah, there's a bit of my ranking and breakdown of the Mandalorian seasons, and if you're wondering if I think it's worth giving it a watch in big 2025 if you've never seen the show, I do. I do. I thought I was gonna come out of this and be like, man, Mandalorian's like not that great. Especially the way season 2 was shaping up to be. But season 3, I was genuinely shocked of like actually how much I enjoyed it. I enjoy a lot of combat. I enjoy Mandalorians. I enjoy droids being repurposed. I enjoy Moff Gideon's whole arc. Like, maybe I'm just biased, but like, I don't know. I thought it was pretty cool watching Mandalore be reforged, This sets like a whole new pathway forward, which I like. Even though the forward ends up ending at the Rey Skywalker trilogy because that trilogy is terrible and dog shit and should never exist. This is at least a cool moment where we could get another spin-off series, Maybe like 200 years in the future or some shit. Mandalore's prospering, and we get another Mandalorian season based off Offspring way down the way. Maybe Grogu grows up to be the Yoda of Mandalore, Something cool like that, So I think it's pretty cool. I'm kind of excited for the movie. I'll probably see it in theaters if it's available, and based on the trailer and everything. But yeah, I thought season 3 is pretty good, I give it like probably an 8 out of 10 for season 3. 7 out of 10 for season 1, 5 out of 10 for season 2. I think I'll leave it like this. But yeah, that's been my rankings. That's been my thoughts and opinions. And if you made it all the way to the end of the video, I want to thank you for watching. And as always, I hope you have a good day.